Yo, what's going on? So, got something slightly different today. I'm gonna be doing a live stream with someone that I know. But this is on Instagram though. So yeah, go on to the Instagram innit? Obviously, I'm still live streaming it here at the same time.
That's what you do. I'll make people run. I'm sorry. No, sorry. That's the difference. And then, nigga, you go.
Jesus Christ. Alright, so I'm live now on Instagram as well, innit? And yeah, I got it on loudspeaker, so you lot can hear it if you're just listening. Yeah, you're done now. Oh, what, Nadia? What, you on your laptop as well? Because you're on both platforms.
Jelani?
Yeah, you ready, yeah?
Yeah, I'm going. You're going live, yeah?
Yeah. I just sent you the request.
Okay, cool. All right.
I see. Yo.
Yeah.
Alright, one sec.
Hi.
You alright?
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. So obviously at the same time I'm live streaming to my YouTube channel as well, you know.
How is it?
Yeah.
How do I do that? I've got a YouTube channel. How do I?
No, but but I've got my laptop on. Obviously you can't see that, innit?
Oh,
Yeah.
I've got a laptop here in front of me. How do you do that? So can I go live with you on your YouTube channel as well?
Yeah, do you know what? You can, you know.
So.
Do you know, I've never done this before, you know, but actually.
Let's try this out.
Right, so there's a link to the StreamYard. I'll tell you what you do, yeah? So whilst you're on your laptop now, if you go onto JY's TV
On
YouTube,
right?
Yeah, on YouTube, and then go onto the live stream, and I'll put the link in the comment, or no, I'll put the link in the description.
So you're live now, talking to me. I can see you.
Yeah. What? Can you see me on YouTube or Insta? Well, obviously Insta, but can you see me on YouTube as well?
Hi guys. Yeah, I can see you on. I can see you on YouTube.
Okay, yeah. I think the Insta's faster though. But it don't matter to me. We could just do it on this anyway, because at least then your followers can watch you as well, innit? So.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So we need to continue that conversation from earlier.
Yes, we do, Jelani. So let me just come off your page because the sound is just gonna impact us much faster on IGTV, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. So what was you saying earlier? I forgot.
Well, we was talking about that victim mentality of black people, innit? So yeah, we can just continue from that. So a lot to be said on that topic there, innit?
Okay. So what's your views on that? What? How do you feel about that?
It's nonsense. It's nonsense, isn't it? So basically, where it comes from is, yeah, things back in the day in the 60s and that, yeah, things might have been harder for black people back then, yeah. But what happens is the older generation, they indoctrinate the younger generation and they push their problems and what they kind of experience onto the younger people there.
Okay. Some of them.
Yeah, you keep saying some, but it's most. It's 90% of black people.
I have to say, cup half empty, half full. Because if I look at my grandparents, if I take into account, they didn't do that. They didn't put that kind of narrative on us. That, oh yes, you know, the white man this, or it's harder for you, this is the glass ceiling. It was just very much make sure you put yourself in a financial situation that you are in control. Make sure you buy property, make sure you do that. Do you understand? So I didn't feel pressured. I suppose the more that I grew into my teens, that's when I started to look at a different narrative that was taking place, right? So I do think Black people can play victim. I do think they can play victim to slavery, as you said, reparations. I do think that they create the ceiling themselves. And I'm not saying that there isn't like institutional racism. I'm not saying there are people with an agenda to keep, you know, us at a particular level. Like, from what we've been through, that should be nothing to us. Exactly.
Like, you see that what we've been through, you and I and anyone watching this right now has not been through slavery. So don't try and think for 1 minute that you're a victim of slavery. You're not. Exactly. Yeah.
Like, and so therefore, you have no excuse.
Exactly.
You have no excuse. And I think that's what bothers me the most. I was watching, is it Madame C.J. Walker, the woman who invented is it the perm or the hot comb? Okay. And if you look at the family structure in those times, right, there was a nuclear family, man, woman, children, right? Mm-hmm. So that's how the family structure was. And it was very much about social mobility. So self-preservation. They worked, they had made their own money. They never saw themselves missing your chin. This is not it. They never saw themselves as victims. Almost, they saw themselves as victors, right? So yes, we've come from a victim situation, but now we're going to be victorious. Now we're going to have our own stuff. That's how we was able to have Black Wall Street. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just don't see that tenacity in some of my people.
Now,
the reason why I say some is because there's just deviance, right? Whatever ethnic background you come from, there's just deviance, right? There's always, why do you know, all those Black boys, all those Black children all congregate on the corner and do X, Y, and Z? They make us look bad. Actually, they're just young people chilling out. When it becomes something that it starts to look bad is when maybe, you know, it becomes violent or, you know, rebellious and whatever. But ultimately, I think we have to understand there's deviance. And once we understand there's deviance, I'm not a part of them. They're not a part of me.
Exactly.
You understand?
Yeah.
So
it's the minority that spoil it for the majority, unfortunately, isn't it?
Absolutely.
But yeah, but you know what? You see, like with racial profiling. So I was talking about this a lot. I was talking about this in one of my live streams yesterday. And Black people are racially profiled by the police. But we need to understand and, you know, put the blame on, well, who do we need to put the blame on? We need to put the blame on the young Black people, because, you know, white people are not going out of their way dressing up as Black people committing crimes. It's Black people that is going out and doing the crimes, whatever in it, all the crimes under the sun, yeah? So it's their fault why we are tarnished with that brush. You know, young Chinese boys, young Asian boys, whatever in it, and obviously in certain parts of the country, white boys are doing badness as well in it. Yeah? But for the most part, they ain't racially profile how we are, because they ain't out there. Well, they are, they might be, but they ain't out there. They ain't as bait as us.
Okay. So you know what? I was thinking about this, and I was like, okay, you know what it is, right? Black people, some of them are suffering from post-traumatic slave syndrome.
Nah, see, all of that. I don't agree with that. These are made up things.
Hold on. I'm finished. You understand your identity not as a black man, Jelani. You understand your identity as who you are.
Yeah.
Right? Not so much because you're a black man, but because of what you've been through and what you've overcome and how you've chosen to operate in life because of it.
Yeah.
The mere fact that you are a black man just makes it even better because of the situation of black people, right? But your identity is rooted in a knowing of who you are.
100%.
Okay, cool. That's why you can't conform. That's why you can't conform to that ideal, the idealism of post-traumatic slave syndrome, right?
Yeah.
Now, there are some who are still experiencing that slave syndrome. I always like to use the example of this, right? Just bear with me. Like, we don't have to agree.
Of course not.
But it's always good to understand the other perspective. If you're for, it's always good to understand the argument for, against, right? So if I'm a young black boy and all that has been perpetuated to me, advocated to me and shown to me and modeled to me is I come from a generation of slaves, then anything that I do is higher than that, right? So the level of success that I attain is higher than that because my belief is that I'm from a slave, not that I was enslaved. Now, if you understand your identity and your history precedes that, then, you know, your level of success would be completely different. You'll view things differently. This is what I'm saying. There are some people that hold themselves to a standard of slavery. So anything that they achieve is brilliant. And there are those, yes, there are those who recognize, hold on a minute, that ain't me. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to practice what was originally me. And that's why I have that level of success. But this is what happens. You have more people with an Uncle Tom mindset that will then belittle the ones who operate outside of it. But they're not house niggas. They just don't put those restrictions upon themselves. But you have the majority, okay, who have that post-traumatic slave syndrome and will make you feel like you're a sellout, will make you feel that you're not part of the movement because you don't think like them. Yeah, it's like, what do they call? Crabs in a bucket or something like that.
Yeah. You're trying to drag down someone that's trying to get above you or whatever, innit? See,
right.
Yeah, I kind of agree with what you're saying a little bit, just a little bit. So yeah, I hear that. But at the same time, it's not coming from a good place if you think to yourself, well, I used to be a slave, or I'm a slave, whatever you want to call it. So that now that I've achieved a little bit, it's my success has been highlighted. Nah, that's not good, man, because you're thinking that you're a little person. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like, you feel like, oh, if I achieve something, it's something amazing. Well, really, it's not. It's mediocrity, isn't it? I don't know, man. I don't really agree with that, though, man. To be fair.
What part of it don't you agree with?
The part where you're talking about, say for example, all right, let's say for example, because I bought a property. Oh, because I'm a black man and I bought a property. Oh, it's so amazing. It's like, well, not really. Not really.
No, it's not. Exactly, it's not.
Exactly.
That first of all, you bought property. Why should it be that, oh, because you're black, you bought a property?
Yeah.
Now, those who say that are the ones who kind of have that limited understanding. Yes, and you know what? Okay, let's give a little bit of leeway to say that, you know what, we are coming from a time where we didn't see much black people own their property. Right? It was like there was a time when when I was growing up, like obviously, you know, there's a huge age difference between us two, right? So when I was growing up, you didn't see much black people driving like great cars or living in like big houses. You didn't see it, right? So when we do see it, we got to celebrate it, not because, oh my gosh, that's a black person living in a big house. No, it's because we have broken a barrier. Like we've pushed through a next paradigm. But how some people see it was like, oh my God, we wouldn't expect you to make it here because you're black. Let me throw in another example for you. There's a lady called Candice Owens. And she, right, okay. Now, I never liked her.
I liked her mentality.
Right, and now that I actually listen to her, so what I tend to do right now, right, I tend to want to listen to people who challenge my perspective. Yeah. Right? Because I want to be challenged. I don't want everyone to think like me. And the more that I kind of listened and didn't have an opinion, so to speak, and then I realized actually what she's saying lines up with a lot of my own values, right? But because, and you know, I can share this and say like, I'm not your typical black woman, right? I'm not your typical black woman in the sense that, you know, the kind of music that I was brought up on, you know, we didn't really listen to like reggae or bashment. I grew up on jazz. I grew up on classical music. I grew up with a different outlook based on my upbringing. Okay. So to other people, I wasn't your typical black girl, if that makes sense, right? So, but why is that? Why should there be a typical? Why isn't there just like this plethora of black culture that transcends, you know, opinions and perceptions? So she said one thing that is so key is that why do we need a diversity and inclusion? Why do we need to make it easier to, let's recruit all these black people so they can have, you know, access to sports scholarship? It shouldn't be based on my race. It should be on the fact that I am able to perform to that level. Yeah. So what we've kind of done is created this kind of token system. We've created the token system as opposed to just saying, no, I'm smart, I'm intelligent, I come from a wealth of experience and knowledge. That's why I have a seat at the table, not because your diversity and inclusion requires that I be there.
I hear this. So you know that Black Pound Day nonsense, yeah?
Right.
You see that? I ain't with that. I'm not investing my money on no particular day. I don't business if it's Christmas Day. I don't business if it's my birthday. I'm not investing my money in no black business on any particular day. Has that business got what I want? Yes or no? Now, don't get it twisted. I only eat from Jamaican shops if I'm going to go and get some yard food. I don't eat from no other Caribbean place or whatever, yeah? But I'm not going to...
Why?
And, I don't know. I just found that when I've gone to like a Caribbean shop, if it's not ran by... And when I say Jamaicans, I mean yardies. So not even British-born Jamaicans, really. There's one place in Tottenham, but other than that... I've been to other places ran by maybe like St. Lucians or people from Trinidad, and I ain't rating the food in it. So me, I just stick to Jamaicans in it. Now that's got nothing to do with race, yeah. That's a nation thing, innit? Yeah. So it got nothing to do with race. But I'm not investing my money in any particular business just because it's run by black people. I'm not hiring, like they're all talking about on the internet, hiring more black people for jobs. No. Have these people then got the skills to perform well in the job? Yes or no? If the answer is no, I'm not hiring you just because you're a black man. Because what that's going to do, that's going to make people lazy. That's going to make people think, I'm entitled.
I agree.
I mean, I'm entitled. Like, I don't agree. I don't believe there's anything, this white privilege thing exists in it. I know some people are going to disagree or whatever, innit? But that's almost white privilege. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that. I believe that there are some white people who, you know, come from privileged backgrounds due to obviously their family and that. And there's some broke-ass white people. I work in their houses. Now, for anyone who's watching, I don't know, I'm an electrician. I work in social housing. And trust me, there's some white people at the bottom, just like black people. In this world, you're going to have races of people of all different classes, working class, middle class, upper class. It's just, unfortunately, in this country, most of the black people then is the working class. That's why the perception of black people is, you know, really low. But if you go to Africa and that, you've got all the different classes across all the countries and that. But yeah, I'm not hiring no person just because of the color of their skin. Can they do the job properly? Yes or no? That's what I want to know. Because if we start hiring people based on the color of their skin, who's going to be bothered to go and get an education?
I agree.
So back to the Black Pound Day thing. I'm not going to this shop because it's run by a black person. I don't care if that Polish shop has what I want. I'm going in there. I'm not gonna not go into a Polish shop because it's run by white people. That's racism. That's racism. Thinking and nominating shops. Hold on one second. Nominating shops to go into based upon the person, them people, them skin. That is racism. Like, I'm in Northampton. Obviously, there ain't much black people up here, innit? When I see certain black people, like there was one time I was in B&M and some black woman come up to me and said hello. Now, why are you saying hello to me for? I don't know you. Like, you might think, oh, she's just being friendly, but I observed her walking past other people and she's not saying hello to no one. She's not saying hello to them because they're not black. She's saying hello to me because I'm white. That's like reverse racism. You shouldn't look at me and think, oh, you and I is the same, you and I is cool, based on the color of our skin. Same thing with the Black Pound Day. Same thing with hiring people because of the color of their skin. No, you shouldn't be going up to people and saying hello to them just because they're this color. No.
I mean, I think in terms of representation and feeling comfortable, I think that's probably why you might find someone who's, going to go out their way to say hello to all the black people.
No.
In terms of Black Pound Day, I think it's a good initiative. What I'm not down with is the Black Lives Matter movement.
Same, 100.
I'm not down with the Black Lives Matter movement at all.
That's reverse racism. That's reverse racism.
Yes, it is. And I think that when we look at the community, right? I think there's so many of us. The community is very diverse, very multicultural. But there are communities within communities. Yeah. Now, when we look at the black community, it is displaced. It's displaced because there's differing opinions, right? Like you said, there's prejudice and reverse racism. Okay, we have colorism amongst ourselves, right?
Yeah, that's nonsense as well. That's nonsense. I made videos on this. Yeah,
we'll tap into that in a minute.
Trust me.
But I mean, I would want to support a black-owned business. I would want to support it. I think not because if I can get what I need from one of either shop, I would rather support a black-owned business. If what I want is not there, I'm not going to feel bad going to a non-black business. I think that's the key thing. I think what they're trying to promote is ensuring that the money moves within the black community, which can then enhance the black community by providing provisions for young people, for the elderly, etc., etc. So I do agree with the Black Pound in that sense, but I'm not going to feel like, oh my God, I need to go and spend my money in a black shop because it's Black Pound Day. If I don't have what I have, then I will get it from somewhere else, right? In terms of the Black Lives Matter movement, I'm just not down with it.
Right, you see the reason, like, they're talking about Black Pound Day and obviously investing money in black shops and that to make sure that black businesses survive or whatever, innit? All right, boom. Do you know why a lot of
that? Or just off the back, what, Black Pound Day or in general, like?
Yeah. All right. Let's say in general then, innit? Let's say in general, innit?
Right. Ever since George Floyd, what have you seen?
I don't. You know what? I don't really watch TV. I don't watch the news.
Okay.
But
just in general,
I ain't seen none. Sim, you know me. I live in my own world. Yeah. But the reason why black businesses don't survive and don't prosper, do you know why? Because black people got a short-term mindset. How many? Because obviously you're from North London, innit? Yeah. So obviously us, we lived in the same estate in Edmonton, yeah. When we go through Tottenham, how many shops have you seen? How many Caribbean shops have you seen? Been up 6 months and they shut down. Before there's any dust on the sign, the shop has gone into liquidation. They're gone bust. Because black people, they have a short-term mindset. That's why black businesses don't survive. They don't understand.
By your tone, this is what it is, right? It's like you and them. There are some who
of course.
Of financial literacy, because you are not them. Do you understand? You are different, right? Now, that's because you do have the literacy. But when you say black people, there are some within our ethnic group that display, we have to be very specific because there are some who are flourishing,
All right.
who are financial literate, who are business literate.
90%. Yeah. So when I say black people, I'm talking about the majority, because we can't just keep talking about the exception or that one man there, innit?
I don't think it is. And this is my thing. I don't think it is the majority. I think that society, the media, we are doing what we have been doing since after Malcolm and Garvey and King, right? We are not looking at what is actually. There are people who are very successful black people that are probably the majority. It's the minority. We are focused on the thinking of the minority where we should be focused on the thinking of the majority. But here's what happens: the majority who are living very successfully, okay, they feel like they need to be hiding because of the way that they're treated by the minority. This is what we do all the time.
What do you think? Do you think the minority? Do you think the minority say, like, why are they hiding? Because they think that they're better than people? Like, what's the reason for you saying?
That's exactly why they would say it.
Okay.
But the reason why that I was having an interview with a guy the other day, right? And his world is different. His world is different to some of the, the black people, the black men that you may know. But his circle is full of black people who are very successful, who are living life. And the reason why that they are separated, so to speak, is because they can't deal with that crab bucket mentality.
Mm.
Because what you're going to do, you're going to judge me. You're going to say I got rich and I switched. What you're going to say is that I'm licking the white man's ass.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to say. Yeah. But you know what? I haven't got time, because if you haven't had that paradigm shift within yourself, if you don't know who you are, I can't help you. But you know what? There is a group of people where I do have representation, and that's where I'm going to be. Do you understand? So it's the minority. But what, again, is reverse psychology. They get us to focus on the minority. I did a report, a Black Lives Matter project, right, with some young people in college. Now, the Black Lives Matter project wasn't about, we're black and we're proud. It wasn't that. It was saying, do we live in false pride or true pride, right? True pride is saying, hold on a minute, that happened to them, but we've got too much opportunity now, so we don't have to be like this.
100%.
Now,
yeah.
So what happened is, when we started to have this discussion, they came to their own realization is that the majority of black on black crime, okay, is actually broken down into BAME groups. So what we look as a statistics as black on black crime, like black you, black me, that is taken from a statistic of black and minority ethnic groups. Mm-hmm. So the mere fact of young people killing each other is actually quite low. The amount of young people that actually do get arrested in comparison to the whole thing is relatively low, but they get us to focus on the minority as opposed to all this great stuff that is going on within our community. Mm. But some of us haven't woken up yet. We need to wake up. I don't even give it airtime. Okay, cool. Well, my son's 16, he's going to be 17 soon. Now, he is the way that he is because of what we model. You have to pick the sense out of nonsense. Do you understand? Yeah. So I think if we just focused on people like yourselves, right? Property, you're an author, you're a property developer, you're an electrician. Do you know how many people your age who are doing the same thing? We just don't focus on it. My son's dad, he left school at 16, became a gas engineer. In an environment where there wasn't much young black boys, but now you see bag of them in there. Yeah. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So they have allowed us to look at the minority, forget the minority. If I have a conversation with you and you're not able to see the shift, it's cool. One day you will, and I'll be here. But let me just focus on those who do have the shift. Mm-hmm. The young people who do have the shift. If I'm going to complain about you being a white person being racist to me, then I also need to be complaining about, someone black being racist to someone who's Asian.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We have to be very much about our values. That's the only thing that is missing in regards to our ethnic group, is that we have lost our values. Your grandparents have values. So do mine. They had values from the day that they left the plantation. They had values. That is something that has not trickled down and stayed. We haven't attached ourselves to it. This is why we are. This is why they are the way that they are, right? So we just have to be very mindful in how we speak, because then we become part of the problem and not the solution.
Right. So was you around when Margaret Thatcher was about, like when she was in power? Was you alive back then?
I remember slightly what it was about. Yeah.
Did she leave office in the 70s or the 80s?
The 80s.
The 80s, yeah. You know a lot of black people. So like my mum's age.
90s, late 90s.
Oh, okay. So she was. Late 90s, yeah. Oh, okay. So she was around for a while then. So like my mum's generation, so people that's like 48 and above, touching 60, pushing 60 and that. You know, a lot of them blame the reason why young black men are on the street killing each other because Margaret Thatcher closed down the community centres in the 70s and or 80s and that. It's bullshit. You closing down a building should not be an excuse for man to go out and stab and kill each other. Now, when I was on road, yeah, we had community centre and youth club to go to. Do you know what that was? Youth club was only open on a Friday, whatever, innit? You know, we used to go there when there was nothing to do, when it rained. Man will go there to get me, just do their thing, link up with man, make money. You understand what I'm trying to say? That did not help us. And furthermore, some of the people in there, they were just as bad. You go in the community centre and the people that are supposed to be mentoring the young people, they're telling us stories about this and that. And they're looking at us. They know we're gang members. They should be telling us how to get off the street. Nah, they're telling us stories about, when they was, I remember one time I went to, youth offending, YOT, youth offending team. I spoke about this in my video a couple of times. So obviously, they had the youth offending at the top of Bouncers Road in Edmonton.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it's still there, innit, but it's like the Enfield and maybe Haringey, definitely the Enfield youth offending service. So anyone who's from the Enfield borough, Edmonton, Palmers Green, whatever, innit, you get nicked, you're underage, you go in there, it's a youth offending, innit? So anyway, I went there when I was 16 and there was one older guy, one white guy. I think he was like, he could have been like English, British, but anyway, he might have been Greek, but anyway, born here. And he said to me, yeah, you boys from around here talking about Edmonton, man, and North London, man, you lot ain't bad. The real bad boys are from my area, South London. They don't talk, they just stab. And I'm thinking to myself, like, see, these are the people who help keep young people down. You are an older man. You're supposed to be, you're talking to an impressionable young person. You're supposed to be telling me what you're doing is stupid, blah, blah, blah. Whatever, even if it's going to go in one ear, one out. You cannot be telling a young, impressionable boy who's out on the street trying to make a name for himself, the boys from my area, South London, they don't talk, they just stab, So what's that gonna do to me? That's gonna make me think, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't be on the fisting up man thing, maybe I should start stabbing people. These are the people, a lot of the people them that's in the youth offending service, a lot of them were just people off the street and their mind is still in the streets.
Yeah, of course.
You see a lot of the women that are in the youth offending service, their boyfriend's a drug dealer, I've got a family member, she's a youth team worker, whatever, innit? She likes them type of man. I know obviously women, they're like bad boys, I get it, but like no, there's certain gal out here, they like criminals. And these are the gal, these are the chicks that are supposed to be mentoring and doing probation service for young people.
Yeah,
as to the problem, man.
It does, 100% it does. But I mean, I worked as a referral order, I can't remember, a referral order worker. I worked as a referral order worker, and so basically we would have to help the young person with reparations and introduce them back into the community. So they didn't go to jail, they just got a referral order, right?
Yeah.
And I remember this young boy, and he what did he do? I can't remember what he did, but you could tell that he hadn't been given guidance. That ability to understand consequentially what's going to happen. So a lot of our young people, they make decisions because the decision's got to be made. They're not thinking about the consequences. So when I was working with him, you know, that's what I wanted to work with him from. Like, okay, I think he wanted to borrow he borrowed his mum's car. Obviously, you don't have a license. Why are you doing that? And when we had the conversation about, you know, what would happen, that's when we got some sort of paradigm shift. Anyway, I left there and he ended up back in jail anyway. But what I'm trying to say all that to say that unless we understand the consequences, we understand our own values, we don't actually make an impact. We don't actually make an impact in these young people's lives. When I was working for the Haringey Peace Alliance back in 2003, so the Haringey Peace Alliance was this great initiative funded by the Home Office, Haringey Council, to prevent young people picking up guns and knives, right? But all it was a tick box exercise. No one wanted to be grassroots. No one wanted to get on the ground and basically understand what is going on. A lot of it has to do with social mobility. A lot of it has to do with the mindset. I ask you this question: is poverty a state of mind?
100%.
Thank you. Thank you.
100%.
And I say that to say this: when I was growing up, did I live in poverty? Yes.
Yeah, same.
I did.
Same.
Yeah,
same.
I lived in poverty. I saw my mum take those letters and put them in the drawer.
Oh
right?
God, I know that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Not that I saw that, but I understand what you're trying to say. Yeah.
Thank you. My mum would send me to the shop and she'd like, buy lard. I'm like, when I talk to my friend, like, do you buy lard? I don't know. Well, like, what's lard? Lard is obviously the cheapest oil that you can get, right?
That block thing that comes, fuck, you know.
Yeah, the block thing, you just cut it and you put it in there, it stinks, right?
Bruh.
So I recognized that I grew up poor, but there was something about that said, you know what, I can have more. My mum should have done better.
Yeah, it's not my job. Go on.
No, that's all I'm saying is that she should have done better.
At the end of the day, right, it's not my job to fix other people's problems. You see most of the young people that are in poverty and that, the reason why they're in poverty is because of their parents. It's their parents for why they're in poverty. There's decisions that they did not make or made, whatever way you want to slice it, that allow their children or put their children in positions to grow up poor. So because the reason why I grew up poor is because of the decisions that my mum made or she didn't make.
Yeah.
That's what people need to do. They need to take ownership.
Yeah.
But instead, people go out of their way to try and fix other people instead of fixing themselves.
Yeah.
If everyone looked in the mirror and said, you know what, let me forget about trying to, because this is what people do. They try to project onto other people. There's people out here who are drug counselors who have a drug problem themselves. Nah, brother, fix your drug problem yourself. Then go out of your way to be a drug counselor. There's a man, right? I was watching this thing in prison. This guy used to walk around on the wing in prison, and he used to make sure, he used to be like suicide watch. So at 1 a.m, he would do the rounds, making sure that no one is committing suicide or whatever. And everyone loved him in the jail and that. He got given life a couple of weeks later during the filming of this program. On the day that he got given life, which is understandable, he said, you know, I ain't doing the suicide watch. He says, call someone to come and check on me in a couple of hours time in case I commit suicide. What's the fucking point? What's the point? A man's out here. You got people out here, drug counselors who go out and they have drug issues themselves. No, you need to fix yourself. If everyone looked in the mirror and said, you know what, I'm not going to try and fix my neighbor. I'm not going to try and fix my cousin. I'm not going to try and fix this person. I'm going to fix myself. Problem solved. 90% of the black community, and you know what, 90% of the world population, problem solved, everyone fixed. And you know what, the 90% could go and then put their energy into fixing that 10%. So each of those 10%, each person will have 5 mentors who are beating it into them. You can do better, whatever. That's what it is.
I agree with you.
That's what it is.
It's true.
If my children grow up poor, that's down to me. That's my fault. No, ain't no one else's fault. That's my fault. Your parents out here moaning, oh, my child's in a bad area. We need more police on the streets. And no, hold on a minute. Why don't you move your child out of that bad area? Because it's easier to go down to House of Commons or Parliament, whatever, innit, and make up noise with placards for a couple hours or whatever, innit. It's easy to do that. It's difficult. It's more difficult to say, you know what, for the next 5 years, I ain't gonna live no social life. I ain't even gonna see my friends or talk to my family, whatever, innit. I'm gonna put in the shift. I'm gonna save up, and I don't care if I have to move to Timbuktu to buy a property in the middle of nowhere so that I can keep my child safe. No. They'll rather stay in Stockwell, all the bad areas, and complain about black crime and that, and police brutality and gangs and all that, instead of putting in the shift, making that sacrifice and moving their child out. It's easier to go down the House of Parliament for a couple of days and make up noise. Not taking accountability.
You raised a very good point. One of my degree is in individual and community empowerment. And one of the things I recognize is that the disparity between the wealthy and the non-wealthy is information and knowledge. Because of those who live in a poorer area, they lack knowledge. There's a scripture said that my people perish because of lack of knowledge. And that's what happens. They feel disempowered. They don't have a sense of empowerment to say, I can get myself out of here, because they lack knowledge. The wealthy are wealthy because they have access to information. We are not, we've gone through so much revolutions. Right now, we're in the information revolution, right? This is all about data. This is all about knowledge, right? So one of the reasons why we see this huge disparity is because of access to information and the willingness to access the information. That is one of the biggest hurdles. Now, sorry, someone just said further sins.
Yeah.
Hastened further from those that chat to the parents of these bad kids.
I was reading that comment as well. Yeah.
The government's fault.
Yeah. It's easier. This is what I'm saying, isn't it? It's easier to pass the buck. It's easier to pass the buck. No, this is people's problems, yeah? They rely on, this is why I don't follow politics. And this, I've made, honestly, you need to watch my YouTube channel, innit? Yeah, the amount of things that I cover. When I hear nonsense about British people, why are you celebrating that Trump is out of office? Why are you getting happy? Why are you getting sad that Trump is out of office? What has it got to do with you? Why are you concerning yourself with politics in other countries? You shouldn't care. You shouldn't care. And furthermore, you shouldn't care about who's in government in this country. Because at the end of the day, right, whoever's in government and whoever's in power in this country, all it's going to do is give you a little bit of an advantage or a little bit of disadvantage. On the grand scheme of things, it don't make no difference. It don't make no difference in it. So what this person said, they're right. It is about talking to the parents, but no, let's blame the government. Everyone wants to pass the buck. They feel like it's the government's duty of care to protect people's children. No, it is you as the parent. It's your duty of care to protect your child. What kind of idiot mentality is that you're relying on someone else to keep your child in a safe place? No, that's up to you to do that. Nobody else.
Yeah, so, and equally at the same time, we kind of, like I said, we kind of blame those governments. I think it's just saying the same thing.
Yeah.
The same thing.
Yeah.
When we should be just focused on our values. But what I'm saying is because the values are no longer there, this is why the governments have got themselves involved, that they feel the need to put these kind of policies and regulations into place because of the lack of values. This is where it all stems from. It just stems from a lack of values within the household, a lack of identity. So there's something that we look at and we call it the building blocks of success, and that's the foundation. And that foundation is basically saying that you understand who you are ethnically, culturally, spiritually, and within the family unit. If you don't really have an understanding of that, it's going to be difficult for you to convey that in your relationship with your child. Your child will not have a sense of identity. Now, if you don't know who you are, how can you model? How can you teach? How can you discipline? a lack of discipline is not of punishment. It's to do with the fact that you have not taught them anything because you have not yet learned the lesson for yourself, right? What can we teach our young people about emotional intelligence if you haven't understood your emotional quota?
Yeah.
You understand? So there's a lot of things that does stem back to the parents, but even if we remove the title of parent, it's about self. Just like I said to you earlier, your identity with who you are, not as a black person necessarily, but who you are,
because
is key.
I do not. I don't believe for 1 second the color of skin that I am determines who I am as a person. I've spoken to man before, and they said to me, when you leave your house, don't you, something along the lines, aren't you aware that you're a black person? I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, don't you walk down the street and like, yeah, I'm black. Like, not in a proud way or nothing like that. It's more like, oh, you know, the world looks at me. No, I don't think like that. I don't look at anyone and think, oh, this person's, I just don't care. And like me, I just focus on myself. And I'm not thinking about how the world perceives me or whatever. This is stupid, this, man. It's stupid. What people
you care about how you perceive yourself.
Sorry?
How do you see? You care about how you see yourself.
Yeah.
Because you care about how you see yourself, it means that you show up differently, right? Because when we care what other people think, when I spoke to you earlier about first and second creation, when we care about what other people think, we are living our life according to their view, not ours.
Yeah.
Right? Which is why we get so much disruption. Right, we get people who are so flip-flop. They don't know who they are, you know?
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, my external image does not determine who I am. Like, a lot of people feel like this is why a lot of people will never be successful, because they feel from the day that they're born, their life is already mapped out. No, you control your destiny, not the color of your skin, not the government, not the police, and not white people. And if you're white, at the end of the day, just remove everything apart from the thing I said about white people. Innit? Yeah, you control your destiny. No government, no police, not the color of your skin, nothing.
Whether you grew up in a single parent household, whether you grew up with your father or your mother or not, it doesn't matter.
It don't matter. I'm the living proof. You can see, this is why I got onto YouTube as well, because a lot of people are talking about, if you come from this background, you can't make it or whatever, or if you've been a gang member or whatever, you can't make it. I'm the living proof. I'm not like some celebrity who you can never get in touch with. Like I'm on YouTube right now. My subscribers, they could talk to me and that. You can come from a poor family. You can be in a gang. You can go to prison and you can turn it around easily.
So what would your family set up like then?
So obviously, your mom, your dad, yeah. So my mum, I've had my stepfather around since I was 1. So he's basically like my dad. He's still there now. If I go back to my yard, he's still there now. So yeah, that was a setup. Obviously, as you know, I've got a little brother. My little sister come along, but I'm a big man for Furthermore, she was born when I was in prison. I came out about 6 days afterwards or whatever, innit? But yeah, my family life was all right. But still, I chose to be a gang member. Like I said to you on the phone earlier, most people who join gangs is out of choice. If you're from an area like Edmonton, possibly Tottenham as well, if you are a gang member, it's by choice. Especially if you're from Edmonton, it's by choice. Maybe if you're from Peckham and like there's certain estates in London where it's like you have to join the gang or you're going to be a victim. Do you know what I mean? Because you're on that estate. So I can understand why certain men join gangs and that. But you know what? Why are they on that estate? Again, it goes back to the parents because they put them there. So there's no smoke without fire. You know, I'm not blaming, obviously I blame the individuals and that, but I'm thinking, why is this individual in that position to even join the gang and that? It's their parents' fault. These are the same parents. These are the same parents when they were 20 years old, all the way up until the age of 30, messing around, doing nonsense with their life, doing drugs, or focus on spending money on these clothes and all that. That's why they can't house themselves in a safe environment because it's out of their control. They can only house themselves where the local authority, Enfield, Haringey, Hackney, tell them. No, if you apply yourself and you save up some money, then you can say, you know what, I'm not even going to live in a dangerous area. I'll go wherever I want.
I think also as well, I remember this vividly, and I think that was a defining and a pivotal moment for how we can ensure that our young people choose the right path. Thank you, Nick. Some great content. Thank you.
Yeah.
So my son, I was on my way home, my son rang me and he was like, Mum, I really need to talk to you. And my heart was beating. I was like, tell me on the phone. He was like, no, I need to speak to you face to face.
Them ones, long.
Yeah, and my heart was beating. So anyway, I got home and he was sitting at the kitchen table and I said, yeah, what's up, son? He said, my friend got robbed and attacked. And I said, oh, is he all right? Whatever, boom, boom, boom. And he said, yeah. Now, internally, I'm like, how you want to be like, how did this happen? Where was you? What was going on? So I just remembered myself and I said, okay, how are you feeling about this? What do you want to do? And he said, well, you know what? All of us, we're going to go look for the person that did it. And I said, oh, okay. All right. I can see why, you would want to do that. So let's think about what could happen if you did do that. And he said, well, we could meet them and we could find the person and we could do what they did to my friend. And I said, yeah, okay. What else could happen? So we can meet them. They might be with other people. Then it could be like a full-on
Royal Rumble in the street.
Yeah. And then maybe if not then, they might see some of us later and then we'll just be going back and forth. I said, okay, what else could happen? Is in
jail.
Get stabbed. Yeah. He said I could get stabbed. Or I could go to prison. Now, I said, okay, so based on that, which one do you think is the best one for you to go with? And he said, Mum, I just want to leave it alone. Right? I don't even want to get involved, right? And it just so happened that the young person they were speaking about was from MPK.
Yeah.
And that's when I knew that my son was not about that life. That he was able to understand the consequences of his actions. That he had someone who was willing to listen to him and to help him to make sense of his decisions, basically. Now, it turned out that that young person who robbed his friends was not living with their mum, was actually staying with his uncle. And basically, there was no one around to support this young person. The uncle was in and out of road and whatever. Do you understand? So he didn't have someone like me. He didn't have someone like my son's dad to keep him on the straight and narrow. Anyway, a couple of weeks later, that same boy who robbed my son's friend was sent to jail for stabbing someone, killed someone.
So basically that could have been, you understand? So
that could have been their retaliation. Do you know what I'm saying? That could have been their retaliation. And I think that's one of the things that we have to understand is we need to be having these conversations with our children. We need to be kind of building a relationship with our children that they can come and talk to us. I don't know if you was ever able to go to your dad and say, oh, my friends got robbed and we're going to go and we're thinking of doing X, Y, and Z.
So my stepfather's told me a few things here and there, but when you're 17, 18, it's like, yeah, whatever, innit? But he did say one thing. I actually made a YouTube video about this. Made a YouTube video about everything. The ends don't care about you. That's the name of the video. And I was basically saying something along the lines of history repeats itself. And he said to me, you're out here, you're trying to build a name for yourself. You're doing this, you're doing that. But the ends don't care about you. In about, I think 5 or 10 years time, he's like, furthermore, you're not even going to see any of these people. Now, my stepfather was from Tottenham and he knew everyone, it's a small community, everyone knows everyone. And he said, when he goes there now, you don't see no one. Same here. I'll walk through Edmonton Green. I'm like, I don't know no one. 10 years ago, when I was 18, I knew everyone. Everyone. those people that I was trying to build up reputations, like, yeah, oh, yeah, he's the man. I don't know these people. Some of them probably don't even live in Edmonton no more. So what was the point? What was the point? There was no point. No point.
Values, again, the values. My son's dad, and I think it's the modeling, it's what we model. Like, the first process of discipline is model.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So your mum has modeled to you, or your stepfather has modeled to you what it is to be supportive to your mum, or whatever. Yeah, they may have had their ups and downs, but you have evidence of what it's like when two people work together, right? So that's modeled to you. Parts of that will be a blueprint to how you engage in your relationship and how you develop in your relationship, okay? It's the same when it comes to our children. What we model, what my son's dad has modeled to him, is very much that you have to have an entrepreneurial mindset. You learn a trade, you learn a skill that can be transactional and then transformational for your life. Do you understand? You do not get yourself involved. One of his things was, you are friends with everybody. You do not align yourself to just bad man. You do not just align yourself to just this, to all the girls, like being, you know, the girls, the ladies, man. You align yourself with everyone. You have an interest with everyone because everyone can help you.
Yeah, so you're more saying like, yeah, be versatile. Yeah. Because for me, I say you're friends with
you as their own.
Me, I say you're friends with no one. No one is your friend. That's what I say, innit? Because for me, what life's taught me is, yeah, everyone's your friend when you're at the same level. So if you're both broke, you're friends. If you're both rich, you're friends. If you're both average, you're friends. But let's use average people. 3 man, they both on 30 grand, 35 grand a year. They both, all of them drive little Ford or whatever in it. Let's say even drive Mercedes, Audi and BMW. They all live in little terraced house and that. Well, if one of them starts earning 150K, one of them buys a detached house in a nice area, one of them starts driving a Jaguar F-Type, and he starts spending a little less time with the other two because he's generally busy. He thinks this, or he's hanging around with this person, he's busy. If you're earning more money and that, you're probably going to be a bit more busy. You know, the other two, they'll be like, you hate her, and they'll have bad things to say about this person, innit? So for me, I'll say no one is your friend, really.
But isn't that just mindset? Isn't that a scarcity mentality as opposed to an abundance mindset? Now, someone who is in a growth mindset will be like, yo, I need to know what you're doing because I want to do that too. Because they recognize that abundance is not for a small amount of people. Abundance is for everyone if we're willing to exchange and share information. If me and you grow together, right, and me and you on the same wavelength, and then I'm expecting you, or I would be able to come to you and put you on at least. If people are watching and being like, oh, they switched again, that's the minority thinking of, the minority of Black people. They've got a fixed mindset. We were never friends in the first place. You was just watching me. Yeah. So you can have friends who are your friends. And likewise, you can have people who are just freeing your stuff because their mindset is closed.
Yeah, I hear that. But for me, I've always observed and taken notes when I see people talking about their friends when that behind their back.
But that's not their friends.
Well,
that's not exactly. Friends talking about friends.
But a lot of people do that, though. A lot of people do that.
And this is the thing. If you are around people who you're hearing talking about people, then you would need to look at your environment. Do you understand? That means you need to switch up your surroundings. Not that they're in problem. That I need to remove myself from them. If I'm around a group of people that chat a group of people, I become part of the group of people that chat a group of people because the principle applies the same. Yeah, you're as rich as the people around you.
Yeah, you are what you hang around with. Yeah,
exactly. So then you would be considered the same person that would chat the friends, unless you actually are with a group of people that are going to chat you to your face.
Yeah. But yeah, you are what you hang around with. That's why a lot of young a lot of young people turn to crime and that, because their parents have put them in a position to be exposed to that. if you have a child and you send him to private school, more than likely he's not going to be a gang member. Now, for all the 1%,
he may be sexually abused.
See. This is exactly. This is exactly.
We grew up in Everton, right? My son grew up in. First, we grew up in Palmer's Green, and then we moved to Everton, right? Now, one of the I didn't really like living in Everton. It was just a means to an end, right? Now, when someone got, I don't know if you remember, that they had to lock off behind the ASDA because the man decided that he was going to hold his family hostage and he was going to blow up the house. Don't you remember? Like the gun police had to come.
No.
I think he was about 6 at the time, and we came outside, or 7. We came outside. And he said, "Mum, there's always something happening in this area." And I looked at him, and I could just see the disgust on his face. Like, there's always something going on in this area. So then we moved. Like, we moved to, the more affluent part of the borough, let's just say, right?
Yeah, Enfield, yeah.
Exactly. Now, and it's different. I mean, for somewhere so close to madness, it's completely different. Right, it really is different. So I lost my train of thought. I forgot what I was talking about. But that's it. You can decide. Like even if I grew up in poverty, I made a choice. You can make a choice. My mum did feed into me, that you can do it, you can make it, you can red-tear, and we just have to do this. Like, we just have to. I don't care if you live in, the poorest area. If you have the mindset, 100%. You can get out of it.
One thing I disagree with, and you cut me, and I was just about to say it. So, like, I will bring up something like private school, and I was just about to say, just before the 1% police come and say, and then you say, you could get sexually abused. Like, why are you even talking like that for? Like, of course, there's always going to be outliers. But see, this is what I'm saying. This is that negative mindset I'm talking about. I'm talking about sending your youth.
Hold on a minute. No, Jelani, listen, let me tell you something. This is what I'm saying. We are saying that if you're able to send your child to a private school, that they have better opportunities.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. The opportunities are the people that your child goes into school with. However, we cannot disregard that this is also the same environment that children can become sexually abused, that things do happen. There is an element of separatism in there. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Or we can actually say, hold on a minute, or if I cannot afford to send my child to private school, what can I do about my character, about my personhood that can ensure that if they're in a state school, they can still succeed? Do you know how many young people, look at Proud and Gifted on Instagram, do you know how many young people who've gone to state schools and not private schools yet are in Cambridge or in Oxford and doing amazing things?
Yeah, but you know
That's what I'm saying. So if you have the funds to send your child to a private school, then do it. Just make sure you get everyone DBS checked and you understand their backgrounds. Likewise, in a state school. But other than that, you just have to be disciplined with your child. You just need to make them know consequentially wagwan so that they can still thrive.
It just boggles my mind why people still demonize private school. Like it's some cult. No, because as soon as I throw this private word in, everyone always jumps at this and that. I'm like, huh? Like, what is?
It's the truth. I mean, it is something that is associated to private care, like private. It's just something that it's just there. I mean, it doesn't. I'm not demonizing it. What I'm saying is that there are pros and cons to everything. But I just don't want us to think that, because I can send my children to private school, that means we're on the upper echelon of society. No, it just means that you have the finances to send your child to private school. However, you can still send your child to private school and have no relationship with your child. You don't even know your child. Right? You just know your child's academic abilities, but you don't know your child's weaknesses. You don't know your child's strengths. You don't know your child's happiness or joy.
I'm not talking, when I say send them to private school, I don't mean boarding school where you don't see them, But anyway, I've mentioned private school before and people are talking about, but you go to private school and end up on drugs. How many crackheads are out on the roadside who did not go to private school?
Yeah.
Do you understand? So it's like, why do people demonize the great things in life? Like, it is demonizing because a man's throwing a word out there, and then the first thing you come back with is just before I was about to say, before the 1% please, you must be the captain of 1% please. You said, oh, this all this bad stuff and that associated with private school. No.
I said you could also get sexually abused in a private school.
You can get sexually abused in the Catholic Church.
Yes, you can, but we weren't talking about churches. We were talking about
schools. You can get sexually abused by your father.
I'm just saying that if you're sending your child to private school to get them out of the hoods, yeah, you could be just bringing them into another evil.
But you know what? I'd rather it be through. You know what? I'd rather do the best that I can. And if hold on a minute.
Be careful what you say.
I'd rather do the best that I can rather than say, you know what? I'm not gonna make no effort. I'm not gonna put my child through private tuition or try to give them the best opportunity because there might be another evil way. So you know what? I ain't gonna do nothing. I'm a
Catholic girl, just Nadia.
Yeah.
You know what? My son can thrive in any environment.
Yeah, I'm not saying that if you don't go to private school, you won't make nothing of yourself. I'm not saying that. You can still make something of yourself, but why not put them in a position where they can rub shoulders with people who are also going to be doing well?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's the be all and end all.
You can get abused anywhere. You can.
I'm not saying it's the be all and end all, but I'm saying people need to stop I've had parents say to me, I would not want to send my child to private school because they will think that they're better than me. You want your child to be better than you. You think I want my son to be an electrician? No, I want my son to do better than me.
If you can afford it.
Sorry?
I think if you can afford it, I think that whole statement, you don't want your son to be better than you, like...
you want your child to be better than you.
You do want your child to have better experiences, and that's what most parents want.
What I'm saying is, I want my son to earn more money, be more successful than me. This is why we are here today. If human beings didn't naturally have this built into us to always keep succeeding, we'll still be in caves, bashing stones, trying to create fire.
So hold on a minute. Okay, so let's just throw something else into the mix then, right? Is being wealthy and successful, does that ensure happiness? Would you want your child just to be happy?
Of course I want my child to be happy.
So their happiness would take precedence whether they're richer than you or not, whether they're successful or not. Like, what do you define as success? Like, would I want my child to kind of, pursue whatever he wants to pursue? Yeah. It may not make him as much money, but as long as they're happy.
Yeah. Obviously, I don't care how happy you are in it. You shouldn't be happy on 10 grand a year. Yeah, let's just.
No, but what if they are?
No.
What if they are?
No.
We've all on 10 grand a year,
we've all got a skill. We've all got a talent. No one is put on this earth to be a minimum wage worker. I don't care how happy you are.
We all have a purpose. But what if somebody is happy and they are content and they're okay with 10 grand?
No.
Like, what if they're okay? Like, what if they're they're peaceable, they're respectable, they have values? Like, why would that, no, you can't be. You need to be on 50K, but I'm cool.
No. It's not a specific amount of money. Yeah, when we're going above the 10,000 mark. But you know what? If that's your mentality, you might as well just be a monk. You might as well be a monk.
And that's okay. That's my point. That is okay to be a monk. Like, when you have your child and your child is like, yeah, but Dad, I love what you've done and everything. I'm just cool over here, creating art, being at peace with myself, I'm cool. Like, I'm so happy. What are you gonna do? Or her?
Well, I don't know. For me, I mean, like, there's so much more that you could do.
For you, that's the operative word, for you. I'm reading this book where we're studying a book in my coaching academy, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't know, I'm a life coach and I run my own coaching academy. Now, we're studying the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. One of the things that stands out is this, right? His face says it all. It does, Nadia. It does, right? One of the things that came about is that you have money-centered people, you have friend-centered people, you have marriage-centered people, you have God-centered people, you have career-centered people. You've got all these different types of people who are centered in a particular area, family-centered person, right? Now, all of those have their faults. Because if I am family-centered, I will do everything in my power to make sure that my family is perceived in a specific way, even if it means that principles are not being adhered to, right? Same with money. I can be so money-centered that I don't care about your happiness. I know I want you to be happy, but don't you think you'd be happy if you earned 50K? Or don't you think you'd be happy if you had X amount of properties? So we always deal with people based on a center. Now, when you come out of all of those centers, you become principle-centered, which means, hold on a minute, I would rather my child understand the value of honesty, the value of commitment, the value of communication, the value of respect, because with all of those things, I can be successful than just being money-centered. And I think when we begin to pour into our children, it's like saying to, your child, oh, well done. Well done, Jay. You bought a property, but yet still we don't recognize the hard work, the commitment, the determination, the focus, the resilience, the budgeting, the planning, the preparation. Yeah. All of those things get overlooked because you got a property. We want our children to understand those centers. Because when you understand those centers and how powerful they are, you can apply them across the board. That's why I'm asking you, it doesn't really matter what if your child is successful monetarily. It doesn't mean a thing. What success actually means is who they are in their character.
Yeah, I mean, for me, success is about becoming the best version of yourself. But I've got an answer for that 10K business. If my son earns 10K and he's happy, cool. But how is that 10K going to ensure that his child or his children will be in a safe environment so that they don't end up in gangs, so they don't end up living on the breadline?
Okay, but if he is a family, if his value is family, if his value is communication, if his value is honesty, if his value is integrity, if his value is patience, you will ensure that your child doesn't end up in a gang. I'm telling you.
telling you. You see, when I have my kid, one sec, Sim. When I have my youth, I can preach to my kid till I'm blue in the face or green in the face all day long about stay out of gangs, your dad did this, all this nonsense in it, yeah? But you know what? Unless I remove him from that environment, he's going to end up just like that. More than likely. If I stick my child in the middle of Milton Keynes where there's no gang members, guess what? He ain't going to be a gang member. But if I put my youth in Tottenham...
he may be a different member. He may be a member of something completely different, right? Then this is what I'm saying. Do you think that gang culture is the biggest threat? It's not. There are other threats that we have in place. I need some water. And what I'm trying to say is that my son lives in a London borough.
Yeah.
Am I concerned about him getting into a gang?
Are you?
At nearly 17? No. You know why I'm not?
Why?
Because I've done the work. His dad's done the work. The family does the work. The influence that he has, listen.
Yeah, but
it's not even possible. It's not even. I know so many young people that who are growing up in these areas. It's not happening because one of the things that we ensure, especially from art, we pick the sense out of nonsense.
Yeah.
You have to be able to pick the sense out of nonsense. If I sit down with you as my son and we watch a program that might have gangs in it and certain things are going on, I'm going to talk about the nonsense that's taking place in it. I'm having a conversation with you. I'm reasoning with you while I'm watching it. I'm not just going to be sitting there watching something very placidly. I'm going to say that's stupidness. Just like how when you watch EastEnders, and I don't watch those stuff, by the way, but I'm saying just like how something may happen and the man feels it's better for him or her to not say anything to anyone. That's stupidness. Wanna have a talk up. Do you understand? When we have these conversations, they can pick the sense out of nonsense. Let me tell you something. You see, when you go down there, that side there, these are the things that go on. So this is the things that I need you to look out for. Do you understand? Yeah. We are preparing our children. But what is happening, what we are seeing is that some of us don't even have a relationship with our children. When I went into the sixth form and I delivered my presentation and I said to them, who can talk to their parents? Not one of them. 2 of them put their hand up. Out of a group of 32 children, 2 kids put their hand up so they could talk to their parents. 2.
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
Although it don't matter, but was it like mixed races, or was it just blacks?
It was a mix. Yeah. It was a mixed group. None of them could talk to their parents. Polish, Albanian, black, mixed race, Asian, 2. Now, when we can't be who we are, when we don't believe that we can be loved for just who we are, which is what happens in some households, right? Don't do that, or don't make sure you don't chat my business, or like my son's into anime. Yeah, my son's into Marvel. He's into anime. He loves all that stuff. Now, do you find much young black boys who are into anime? Of course, there's a bag of them. But
yeah, I used to watch Dragon Ball Z and that. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But some of them, you wouldn't think that there was like this community of, young black boys who are into anime and want to talk about anime and like they can tell you the whole stuff, right? They don't have a relationship. I have a relationship with my son. Yeah. I sit down and talk to him. Are you okay? Are you emotionally okay? No, I'm not. Why? Financially. He's 16. Okay, tell me what would change your finances? A PS5, Mum, would change how I feel. Okay, cool. I could get you a PS5, but that ain't going to do it because there's something else. He goes, actually, you know what it is? I want a job. So because we're having these conversations now, okay, so what's the next step for you to get? I need to finish my CV. Done your CV? Have you sent your CV out? Yeah, I have. What's the next thing? I just need to send off my license. Because we are having these conversations, we can remove the focus. He doesn't need to feel that he can't have it and that he needs to go out on road. His dad will give him, he's the only child on his dad's side. He was the only grandchild for a very long time. So I really think it's how we engage with our children. I've seen the way some people talk to their picnic.
Yeah, 100%.
I've seen it. I have seen it, and it's disgusting. So what I'm saying is that if we as parents, like I'm going to be 40 this year, and I had to look proper at my life and say, you know what? Boom, I've got a 5-year-old. My daughter's set. But there was things about me that I needed to change. Because what would happen is that they will pick up on that cycle. Our children see so many things whether we know it or not. So boom, I've got to make a change. And you said before, if everyone just changes themselves, then that will in turn have an impact on our children. And the more that we do that, then we won't have children in gangs and things like that. If you grow up in a household of sexual abuse, you are likely to become an abuser yourself. You are likely to end up on drugs or alcohol. You are likely to then be groomed into a gang. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So there's a plethora.
But all that gang grooming and stuff, trust me, I've seen it. I've seen man, not from Edmonton, they want to come from surrounding areas to join up with man. I've seen it, man. You're not even from our area, but you wanna rep the postcode. Man are literally coming from this area, that area. And I was thinking, like, this is how you know this thing is a choice. This thing is a choice.
You know what?
This thing is a choice.
It is a choice, but you know what? You had a video about snitch. You was talking about snitching.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. The full video ain't come out yet, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, you was talking about snitching, and when I was 15, my friend got shot.
Mm-hmm.
My friend got shot, and I went to court. Well, it was quite a few, but I went to court. There's some decided not to, some did, and I was, oh my God, like the abuse that I got from being considered a snitch, right? Now, it just amazes me. And this is what I'm saying again to the mentality within our community. It just amazes me that my level of integrity at 15, I didn't even consider, hold on a minute, if I do this, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, good.
That wasn't even something for me to consider. All I was considering is that someone just got shot. I'm fully aware of who did it, so I'm going to say something. Do you understand? Now, the abuse that I suffered, I lived my life for 15 years, 16, 17 years in isolation, not going certain areas because of it. Bro. And then I realized, hold on a minute, Simone, you have integrity. There are families who do not have closure, who will not get any justice, who have children, their murderers are still running up and down on the street because someone does not have integrity like me. And this is how we continue to perpetuate the violence and the destruction of our young people within our own community because of some stupid cultural norm that shouldn't even be a normality. We have taken something that is traumatic to a lot of families and we have made it culture. You're a snitch.
I know a man who was a witness to his cousin's murder who did not give evidence. Now his cousin's murderer is walking the streets free. But there's no buts. To add to that, you said your son was involved with someone got robbed, and then anyway, the person who robbed someone end up in jail a couple of weeks later for murder or something like that. You remember you said someone stabbed someone or something like that? So you got a lot of black people talking about police harassment and stuff like that. Innit? My argument is, hold on a minute, if my cousin's murderer was harassed by the police and they took a knife off of him, my cousin would still be walking around today. Whoever that boy, the victim, the person who died, whoever the murderer was, if he was harassed by the police, if they took his knife off of him, whoever that kid is or whatever who ended up dead, he will still be alive today. A boy's got murdered in Wood Green. If the police were around, if the police had more funding or whatever, if they were harassing the young people more because they need to, because it works, they're not harassing young black people for fun. They're doing it because it works. Yeah, they might stop 20 young black boys and come up with only one thing, but you know what? That's one potential person who's still alive. A man's been shot dead in Tottenham by the police, whether he had a gun or not. You do not know. In the future, that stray bullet, because it's always that same story that circulates. A bunch of girls go out on a Friday night to celebrate their birthday, and the birthday girl always gets shot dead, stray bullet, outside a club. You do not know. That person walking with a gun might end up shooting and missing and hitting the wrong person. This is why the police need to be. Obviously, certain times, some police are a bit mad with it. But you know what? They're doing a good job, man. They're doing a good job. I've seen videos and I've reacted to videos where a young black boy is getting stop and searched. The police were dealing with him proper. All right, let's just throw it in there and say the police were rude, but they weren't manhandling him madly. Now, we only saw one part of the video. We didn't see what happened before. But you know what? I'll put strong money the police was dealing with him proper. This is during that COVID epidemic nonsense where people are wearing masks and that, obviously still to this day. The police then are stopping searching the boy. They pull out a knife. There's a bunch of black women telling the police, oh, why are you not wearing a mask and that? So I want a fucking minute. Like the police have turned around and say, you're concerned about us not wearing a mask. This boy has a knife. He's got a knife. Yeah. He's got a knife, blood.
Mm-hmm. It's called cognitive dissonance. That's what it is.
Is that it?
It's cognitive.
I call that not taking responsibility, but yeah, that's what I call it. Yeah.
Yeah, which madness. Is that knowing. But this is what I'm saying. It was like if we go back to slavery, like the slavers knew wrong, but they would justify it in their mind, cognitive dissonance. So they're kind of like dissociating themselves with the reality of the truth, right? Because they don't want to deal, and that's what they did. That's what those young women did. Hold on a minute, he's got a knife, but he's a young black boy, and you're harassing him. Yeah, but I'm justified to because he's got a knife.
Do you know how sad it was to watch? And none of the black women said nothing. They weren't even gobsmacked. You know, like, oh my God, there was nothing. It was like, right, let's try and make it seem like the police them is in the wrong. You know, and then I've done another video actually as well. Same live stream. You know when the maniacs cut off the guy's head, the drummer guy in Woolwich. You remember?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah. Right. So basically, obviously, a couple people got their cameras out, but he done like a little miniature interview, a statement. You remember when he was talking about, the reason why I've done this is because they go to our land, blah, blah, blah. Now, he had blood on his hands, obviously, because he cut someone's head off, or at least he attempted to hack someone. He hacked someone to death. You know, in the Sun newspaper the next day or whatever, you got black people talking about, they made his hands more red. They photoshopped this image to make him look worse. The man has cut a man's head off in the street. Who cares what image or how he's portrayed? He's a murderer. He's a barbarian. And this is what, so what do you call it? Cognitive dissonance or something like that. Yeah, whatever that is. Yeah, that's what that is. 100%. You're worried about the image that this guy is, the brush that this guy's been tarnished with, the way the world will view him. He's a murderer. A man's cut a man's head off in the street, and you're worried about the Sun newspaper photoshopping him to look worse than he is. Like, you're worried that the police are not got a COVID mask on, but they're stopping and searching a young black man and taking a knife off of him.
Mm-hmm. And this is, again, it comes back to values. You see, principles, they remain across the board. What we try to do, we try to remove principles, we try to remove values, and what we try and do is put our feelings in place. We want to put our opinion in place, right? So this is what essentially we're doing with. Actually, he had a knife, so they've got every right to arrest him. Sorry, it doesn't matter that you're back to rights, mate. You got a knife on you. Simple as. That's how it should be. There was a video circulating of a 13-year-old who was, I don't even know what area it was, but he was surrounded by a lot of white people, and he had stolen a moped and he had a knife, right? And I think they managed to stop him, and they were all up in his face.
I saw that video. Yeah. Is it raining?
And I was just like, I my heart pulled for the young boy, thinking, you're 13. Do you understand? And they were angry. Like, they weren't angry because he had stolen someone's bike. But why are you walking around with a knife? It was a big, massive knife.
That's what I'm saying.
What we are doing something so wrong. So wrong.
I made a video, as you're gonna keep hearing me say this, I made a video about everything. There's nothing I ain't touched upon, I don't think yet. Anyway, it was called The Absences in the Proof is in the Absence of the Comments. So basically, when there are videos about black people going out and acting like maniacs and stuff, black people are nowhere to be seen in the comment section. But as soon as a white person does something, like a police officer basically does something to a black person, oh my God, on Facebook, go and check the comments. So you could have a black person getting harassed by the police. Police are moving mad, whatever, innit? Black people are there in the numbers, in the masses. But then as soon as black people, like after the post protest, the Black Lives Matter in the UK and America, when certain people decide, you know what, let's try and loot, let's try and rob shops and that. You want to see underneath the comment section of these mad videos where man are running up in the equivalent of JD Sports in America, there ain't no black people. I've got a problem with this because you're looking at certain type of people and you're not going to say nothing based upon their race. That's racism. That's reverse racism. You know what I mean? So you got something to say about black people, or you got something to say when white people do something to black people. When black people acting like maniacs, you ain't got nothing to say. Remember that guy that tried to kidnap the girl in South London, I think in December or something like that? You see no black people underneath them, underneath the comment section in Facebook. And obviously you did see a few, but not in the masses. I guarantee you, if that was a white man that tried to kidnap that black girl, You wouldn't even have known that white people are on Facebook, the amount of black people that'll be under their comments and that. You should not care what color skin the man is. The man is a criminal. End of story. I don't look at no one and think, it's all right for him to commit this crime because he's a black person, or I ain't gonna say nothing because I don't care about your color.
Well, I mean, for me, and I'm going to answer, somebody asked a question, is it weird, Nick? I'll answer your question in a second about the biggest influence for teenagers. I'm going to tap into that in a second. What I was like, hold on a minute, everyone's like, we're going to get vigilant, we're going to walk the picnic them to school and go to his house, go to his yards. And I said like, we don't know what the family setup is, number one. Number two, when you've got these big time roadmen raping off young boys to set a precedent, to make an example of them, when you've got your people there who are grooming kids and they're selling drugs, I don't see anyone saying let's go and knock on their door.
Exactly.
So therefore you are picking and choosing the fights within our own community. No values, no principles. Do you understand? So I do think there is a lot of work to do. What we need to do, we need to start raising up ourselves and policing who could be grooming. We need to be going into the chicken shops and looking at the man then that's sitting in the corner waiting for vulnerable children to come in so they can prey on them. These are the things where we should be. So that's my gripe, and that's why I say, you know what? It's the minority that actually are doing the worst things, that are really making us look really bad and disempowered. Now, going back to what we and Nick was saying, is that our children...
Wait, what did he say? So I can find the comments so I can read it.
It says, what are the biggest influences for majority of teenagers? Do you think family or friends are quite even? This is how it starts out, right?
Friends, but anyway,
it starts out with the family. It starts out where they have an understanding of self, number one. Then by the time they're about 5 or 6, they have the authoritative thinking, which means that if you've got like a young sister or a young child who's in primary school, they'll be like, my teacher said this. You'll be like, I want you to do it this way. And they'll be like, yeah, but no, Mrs. So-and-so said X, Y, and Z. It's true. Because they identify someone as the authority. So their thinking is in regards to the authority. Now, when you get to the age of about 11, it becomes now, what about me? Their thinking is about what's in it for me. So therefore, you can't send your 11-year-old or your 12-year-old to the shop the way that you used to, because they're going to be asking you, how much do I get? Or why do I have to do it? Or why do I have to go? So now their thinking is not just about the authority, it's about myself. Yeah. Okay. Then they get to the age of about 15 to 16, and their thinking stage is about the peers. That's why how we model to our children, how we discipline to our children at the very early stages, from their formative years, from 0 to about 7, is key. Because they will have the ability to problem solve. They will have the ability to make decisions for themselves. They will have a sense of identity. If they do not have any of that, by the time they reach 17, their peers become an influence. Society is now an issue for them. So therefore, if I'm concerned about what my peers think about me, and my upbringing hasn't given me a sense of identity, hasn't given me any self-discipline, hasn't given me any self-esteem, I'm going to align myself into who they think I should be. And then if society begins to reject who I think I should be, such as gang culture, such as rappers, such as whatever, sports, whatever, they're going to rebel. It's going to be me against the world. That's why you have so many young people who do rebel, who do act out with authority, because authority was not something that they were given at a very young age. So it starts off from being in the household. And if you don't get that under reins when they're in your household, they are going to be the creation of someone or something outside of the household. That's why you have all this grooming going on. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
One thing I would say to you is that negative attention is better than no attention.
So
Negative attention
you're gonna have to
is
expand.
better than none.
You're gonna have to expand on that then, because coming from who? Coming from who? From
the household.
Yeah, all right. So the parents, yeah.
You wanna respond to the negative behaviors of your child, then not respond at all.
Oh,
because if you don't respond at all, that's why they're in gangs. That's why they're there.
Yeah, they're in gangs because gangs are accessible because their parents haven't put them in an environment where that's not around.
Because they get attention.
Yeah, but it's down to the parents to not put them in an environment where there are gangs.
It's down to the parents to give them attention.
Yeah. Well, we ain't gonna agree on that one then. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously, do you know what? You remember, you're a parent, so obviously, what you say is gonna have more weight than me. I ain't. Yeah, I'm talking about.
No, but you are. When you're around your little sister, you give her attention.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So if you watch children, there's some children that act up really badly. They want your attention. And there is a fine line between children that just generally know that they can get your attention. When we give a child attention, it's so much easier for us to not give attention. Like you can play with your sister when you see and do X, Y, and Z, but when you're ready to say, all right, I've got to go and do X, Y, and Z, she's cool. Because she's got your attention. If she doesn't get your attention, she's going to harass you because she's craving.
You know what? I smother her so much. She has to push me away. You know.
There you go. So that's the foundation of being love.
Yeah,
so when she gets older, she has a representation of what it is to receive attention from a male. Yes, you're her brother, but you set the foundation. Her dad sets the foundation on how she should be loved, on how she should be interacted by a male. That's why I will switch on my son if he starts to be rough or speak roughly in a derogatory tone towards his sister. Because she's young, so she'll be like, why is he, maybe when he's playing his PS5, PS4, for example, and she's brushed him or something and he's missed the trick and he switched on her. And I have to remind him that you are creating evidence for how she will receive treatment when she's older.
So basically you're saying, you know that thing, daddy issues, you're saying that that's a real thing because everyone says that, but I've never looked into it. I've never spoken about it.
Male and female. You were fortunate enough to grow up with a stable man in the household. Yeah. And when I say stable, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Now, I'm not saying that there weren't ups and downs. Of course there was. But however, I can see that you have a good relationship with your stepfather. No,
actually, you know what? Him and I don't talk no more. But yeah, when I was younger and stuff, like we used to like play PlayStation or whatever and that. Yeah, but yeah, he was a good male model. Forget about being successful in that, but how to be a man. Like there was no feminine behavior from my my stepfather was a man's man.
There you go.
A man's man. No feminine stupid behavior. None of that nonsense. No, I'm not saying he was an iron fist ruler or anything like that, but he weren't no feminine man. Trust me, he was a man's man. Yeah.
Do you remember the time that we were? I think was it? I swore in a sense. I didn't swear at you. I can't remember if I swore at you. I swore in what I was saying, and you was like, "Don't swear around me." And I was like, "What?"
When did I say that?
This was when you came to my house to sort out the electrics. And I must have swore or something, and you was like, don't swear. And I was like, huh?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, huh? And you was like, I don't like swearing. I don't like it if someone swears around me.
I don't like people swearing at me. That's one thing I would say. Yeah. I don't like. Yeah, I find it disrespectful.
Maybe I swear at you. I was like, oh, don't be so. Maybe I swore at you or whatever.
Yeah.
But either way, that kind of principle. That's a principle.
Yeah, I'm a man of principles.
That's a principle. Right. That's my point. That's why you have the level of success that you have because you live your life based on principles. Now, an element of that is from the upbringing from your stepfather.
No, but you know what? I can actually say I'm a self-made man.
No one is self-made.
Huh?
No one is self-made.
Yes, you can be a self-made man. Yes.
No.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying now? I'm saying that you have reached a level of your own through your own self-violation, yeah? I get it, right. But you are the creation of someone's first creation. You have been... Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you're saying, i.e., my stepfather was rubbed off on me. That's what you're saying, basically.
Exactly. And you have used that to create yourself.
I don't know. Me, I'll say no. And maybe, do you know what? There probably is some truth in that, because you kind of...
There is 100%. I'm telling you. And this is why it's so important. Like, if you think about it, men who have a good relationship with their mum, they will understand what it means to have a relationship with a woman based on that relationship with their mum. If you do not have so I didn't grow up with my dad, and I don't feel no type of way that I didn't grow up with my dad, because my dad was very much the person to, hire out that camper van and pick up his trailer load of picnic, and every single half term, seriously, there's 14 of us.
Oh
so
my God.
Every single half term, we would all roll together. Do you understand?
Shit.
So my dad showed me the importance of like being around like my brothers and sisters and whatnot. Would it have been different if he was in the household? Absolutely. I wouldn't have been the rebel that I was. My dad would have put me straight. Do you understand? So likewise, if you're a man and you haven't grown up with your dad, you really don't have a basis, and you haven't had a male model. You do not have an understanding of what it means to be a man, or some of the tools and the resources to become a man. You're constantly searching and maybe feeling that you're not doing it properly. Do you understand? Same with, if I didn't grow up with my mum, would I really know what it means to nurture? Like, I don't know, like my daughter, go on.
A lot of people think, the reason why a lot of young men join gangs and stuff is because they come from single parent households and that. But I came from, obviously, I'm not saying just because it's just me, but there are a lot of guys who do come from households where they do have their dad and they still take to gangs as well. So for me, I don't think...
Yeah, but you know why, Jay?
It's the environment that their parents put them in.
No.
Yeah.
First of all, hold on a minute. What do they say? Charity starts at home. Number one.
That's what
this
you
is
said.
The tomfoolery. This is the tomfoolery that we be dealing with, right? I grew up with my mum and dad, but your dad beat up on your mum or your mother beat up upon your dad. None of them sat down and spent time with you. They didn't play with you. They didn't read or write with you. They didn't watch. So you have no relationship. You have parents without relationship. You have to have a parent-child relationship. If you don't have a parent-child relationship, you cannot discipline, you cannot teach. So sometimes we think, because both my mum and dad were there. Yeah, but your mum was suffering from depression. She really didn't give you much attention. And you're wondering why you're out here a bit funny. Come on.
Yeah, you see.
I'd much rather be, which is why I'm single, I'd much rather be a single mother than live a fake relationship because it's man and woman together and it's toxic. Doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, 100%.
I can do toxic all on my own. I don't need to let my children think that you should stay in a relationship so that society thinks it looks good. No, it doesn't, because your emotional well-being, your mental well-being is so much more important than us looking good for society.
You mentioned the D word, depression. Do you think that word is loosely used? Because I think everyone thinks they're depressed nowadays. I don't think people know what depression is. I think people go to the doctor, tell their doctor, I'm feeling a bit low. Oh, antidepressants, you're depressed. You're not depressed.
No, but the doctor will diagnose you as that. So I suffered from depression. I suffered from depression for 2 years. I was depressed for 2 years. And
like proper clinical depression where you have an imbalance. You have it like
I had counseling for it. Right.
Yeah, but is it like a chemical imbalance?
It starts off as being depressed. and then turns into depression. I think we all have periods of being depressed. When it becomes depression is then when it begins to impact your day-to-day life and how you engage with others. So for me, it affected my my work, right? It affected, my household. There will be days that I would, like, my friends, I would just go ghost. I would just, you would message me, I would not respond to you. And the worst thing is that I would talk to people and people would think I was okay, and I wasn't. I was dying. I was dying.
Was you at working age? Was you going to work? Was you going to work?
Yeah.
Well, you ain't depressed, man. You can get up.
No. You can't say that, because I have to look after my children, so I'm able to function. And then one day I went into work, and then I never went back. That was the breaking point for me.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. So this is what happens. So there's some people who do experience, a state of deep rest. That's what I call it. It's a state of deep rest, because what happens is that we are so reactionary. We as human beings, we react to so much. We're not responding. We think we are, but we are actually reacting. Okay. Now, what happens when we keep on reacting is our body can no longer play catch up with the falsehood, because we are not being true to ourselves. If I'm in a relationship that is not making me happy, if I am living in poverty and I'm not happy, but I'm trying to act as if I am, your inner self dies. And it no longer can become a default. Your personality can no longer become a default. And then you get to a point where you have to come face to face with what's going on. And that's where you have a breakdown. Because your inner self can't take it anymore. It's like, I'm carrying all these falsehoods way too much. I just can't deal with it anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know who I am. I don't know who I am. And that's what happens. You don't know who you are, because every time you had the opportunity to show up as who you are, you declined. And then when you come out of that place of depression, it's such a liberating place. And that's why I became a life coach. Because when I realized that when you come out of depression, your mind is what attacks you.
Would you say
your mind?
Would you say that whilst you became a life coach, you were still slightly depressed?
No.
Okay.
Because obviously my depression in 2017, 2019, I came out of my depression. And it was literally having counseling, sitting down while I actually understood why I was angry at my mum, why I was angry at a relationship that I didn't need to be in. And everything just came back to my response. I'm angry at my mum because she didn't listen, which is why I used to get angry. If I feel I'm not being listened to, I get angry. Because you're not hearing me. And if I say what I say and then you tell me it's something else what I said, I get even more vexed. And I realized where that stemmed from. So I had a conversation with my mum. I was like, Mum, this is what you did, boom, 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 boom. But I understand that you were raising me with the tools that you had. I can't blame you. But I think as young people, we blame our parents. Like, why didn't she live a life better? She had no money. I didn't have this and didn't have that. Like, I did. My first pair of Nikes I got when I was like 22, 23. Like,
yeah. I used to accept hand-me-downies, my cousin's a size 9, or my cousin was a size 8 last year and he still got them old AstroTurf trainers, Astros in his, let me have them and that. Trust me, man, trust me, poor background. Trust me. I mean, we always had food on the table and clothes on our back, but that was about it. That was it.
Exactly.
Free school meals. That's what man's saying. Free school meals. That's what I'm saying. Like, you can come from humble beginnings and make things worse by messing your life up and still spin it around. Stop claiming that.
Well, you did. Obviously, you did.
Yeah, stop claiming that you're a black man, or stop claiming that there's a glass ceiling in that. There's not. It's in your mind.
It's the one that's here.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah. This ain't the 60s or nothing like that. And you know what? I always promote, if where you are, the environment you're in, you cannot prosper, then move yourself out. But there's a fine line between, because I know people who, nothing's going on for them in the UK, in London, so they decide to go to America and just wing it. End up wasting a year of their life and coming back. Because they watch TV and then they feel like, well, if things is dead in the UK, let me go over to ATL or where New York and maybe things will get better. No, you are the problem. You are in an environment like London where there's things going on. Now, if you're in Northampton, then it's dead up here, isn't it? But London, there's so much things going on. Why do you think all these foreign men are coming over to London to work? Because there's opportunities and you're trying to go somewhere else. No, you are the problem. You need to fix yourself. Like I said, look in the mirror. It's not what's it's you. You is the problem.
And the thing is as well, what I'm thinking as well is that we don't have enough representation in different areas. So for example, in different industries and skills. So on the high road, they're doing, so the Thames Water come in, they've done what they need to do, and all these foreigners, funny you should say that, Nadia, and I'm a foreigner in my own land, right? When they're now relaying, they're repaving the pavement, not one of them was English.
Yeah, outside my yard, right now, they're digging up the road, and I think the guys are Romanian. Yeah.
And this is my point. Like, no, I'm impressed. I am impressed.
No, she's talking to me. She's talking to me. Because I said the foreigners, isn't it? So.
Oh yeah, no, but I'm saying I'm impressed by the foreigners that they see the gap. Set up your construction company. Where is there a lack? Where complain? Oh yeah, the Polish man come in and now they charge less than what we would charge. Okay, so you just think, okay, how do I be more innovative? I need to set up the companies and I need to make sure that I get the contracts for X, Y, and Z. I couldn't believe it. I was like, but that's probably why, because most of the people that live in this land wouldn't do that job. Because if you think about it, with British people
are lazy.
But they weren't. Like, let's be real, university wasn't a thing for them. Let's be like really real. University wasn't a thing for them. They were laborers. They were plumbers, they were electricians, they were carpenters, they were blacksmiths, they were laborers. And that's why they dominated a lot of the construction roles for a long time. When my son's dad started gas engineer, it was a bag of white people, only a few black people. And then old ones as well. Yeah, you've been, Charlie, you've been in it for years. Been in the game for years.
Yeah. His dad was a blacksmith. His dad was
Exactly. So now things have switched up. But what happens is these Europeans, they still do all these kind of roles. That's why they can get these contracts. But we weren't thinking like that because our parents were talking about education. They wasn't necessarily talking about skills. My granddad worked in a butcher's. And because he worked in a butcher's, he was like to my mum and my uncles and aunts, one must get an education, one must get. But how about we set up our own butchers as well? We could have set up our own butchers, our own fishmongers. Yeah, man.
But for me, British people are lazy, and I remember when I was working at some construction site in Holborn, I was busting my ass working every single day. Every day for 4.5 months straight. And when I used to get on the train on a Saturday and Sunday, there were white people on the train, there were Asian people, and there were black people, as in Africans. But I was the only British-born person there. I could just look at them and know that these all people, all them are foreigners. They're not born in this country. British people, I'm in London. This is England. I'm in a white country. Why am I not seeing the indigenous? Well, I don't want to get into no conspiracy theories about who the originators are. But anyway, why am I not seeing British white people going to work? Because the British people, not even just British white people, British people in general are lazy. And then they moan that people are coming from a foreign land taking their jobs. First of all, you guys don't utilize your money and spend your money properly. You see foreigners, they come over here, They work like slaves, but they live like kings back home. British people just work like normal, and then they just feel like they're entitled to a holiday at the end of the year or a couple of times a year or whatever, innit? Yeah, when they're just doing a little idiot 40-hour shift. No, you're not entitled to a holiday. This entitlement needs to go.
I am, because I get 28 days annual leave.
Well, that's up to you, innit? But me, I'm self-employed, innit? So I don't.
Same here.
I don't feel like I'm entitled to a holiday. And me, I've been busted. Like, you see, after that 4.5 month job I was doing and that, I got fired from that job. But I was off for a whole year. I was off from January 2020 to January 2021. I didn't work in between that because I busted my ass beforehand. Now, the people them who, they used to laugh at me at work, you know, oh, Jay lives at this construction site. Yeah, I got a house out of that construction site as well. When people were getting, because I got fired from work before the COVID thing kicked in and that. So I didn't know what was going on at workplaces, and I'm just hearing stuff on the news. But obviously I'm not in work, I'm not at work, so I don't know what managers are saying to people like, boy, you guys might have to stay home soon. You know what I'm saying? It like, you know, you can't come to work and that. These people are shitting themselves because they live an average lifestyle and that, and they feel like they're entitled to this holiday. They don't utilize their money and that. They're not investing their money. That's why the foreign people, like, that's why my grandma, she had a property in the UK and then she built one in Jamaica and that. That foreign mentality, nah, you know what, build something where you come from. British people don't have that. A lot of them don't. Africans, all of them.
Or they have a property in Spain.
Yeah, somebody, yeah.
That's right.
Tenerife,
That's right.
Benidorm. Yeah, that's all right then. But a lot of them don't. But like even my African friends and that, yeah, they live in council houses here, but their parents have yards back in Ghana or wherever in it, Sierra Leone, wherever in it.
Yeah, it's
but
true.
British people don't have the right mentality, man. And then they wonder why people from other lands come over and take their jobs and that. You feel like you're entitled to get paid a certain amount, and that maybe you're spending too much money. Maybe you're spending money on nonsense. You're trying to drive this car, that car. Do you really need this car, that car? You could be. This is what I'm saying. A lot of parents are selfish. You know, a lot of parents would rather drive a £500 car, or like they're spending, let's say, £500 on a lease for a car, like a BMW or Mercedes, but like, you know, like a M3 or M2 or whatever in it. When really and truly, they could just drive a little £200 car on a lease and use that extra £200, £300 to put their kids through some kind of private tuition, because all kids are lacking. I don't care if you're super smart at maths. Maybe your English is lacking. Maybe your science is lacking. But a lot of parents are like, oh, they're all right. No, they're not all right. They can always be doing a little bit better, innit? But a lot of parents are just selfish, and that the British people, they have a mentality where they feel like they're entitled to holidays and that. And I just don't think, I think they're all wrong, man. Me, I don't feel like I'm entitled to holiday. And I've got an excuse to go to another land. I've got that thing up in Egypt, and I'm dragging my heels to go up there.
Yeah, you need to go up there and look at your property. I don't get it.
Yeah. But, and I could go up there.
Because you need to get it ready to rent out for summer.
But do you know why I'm not in no push to get it rented out? Because it's like £15 a night. You know, it's not. No, big not. 1.5, £15, you know, a night. That's like average in Egypt and that.
That's not a lot of money, though.
Of course,
£15 or 15 Egyptian dollars.
Nah, £15. No. 15 Egyptian dollars. No, it's 15 Egyptian pounds. 15 Egyptian pounds is like £1.50, because their currency is about 10 times ours. So 10 British pounds is about 100 Egyptian. It's between 10 and 12 times. Obviously,
so what are you looking to do with the property? What are you looking to do with it?
Well, I'm gonna have to rent it out, but I need to fit a kitchen, so that's more money and stuff I have to pay. But I'm bad for that kind of stuff. So like, I've had a car that I bought that I'm supposed to be selling. It's just been sitting there because sometimes I just do stuff and I just forget and I move on to other things and that. But
you procrastinate. Let's be real.
Yeah. 100%. Because
you need life coach.
No. I'm my own coach. I'm my own coach. I'm my own mentor, you know. But yeah, even that book and that. Obviously, the book's finished. Oh yeah, you're supposed to send me. You see that link you sent me on WhatsApp? Was that supposed to be that woman that produces the books?
Yeah,
it
is.
Okay, all right. Yeah, but yeah. Why would I need a coach when I don't really consider myself a coach, but you get me? I'm out here talking and preaching. So, like, you see with people that jump on YouTube and that, a lot of them is just coaching themselves. I was even saying this in a live stream yesterday. You got girl jumping on YouTube telling other girls to level up and I'm a dating guru and this is how to get a man and all this stuff. And they've been single for 10 years. You're coaching yourself. There's girl out here who self-proclaim to be a dating guru for men, and they have lots of men going onto their YouTube channel talking and that. And this is the same girl that's phoning up a next man in the US who's blown up, asking him for dating advice. Are you serious? That's like me hitting up Steve Harvey saying.
Not Kevin Samuels. It was Kevin
Samuels. I ain't gonna say.
So rude.
No, I'm not gonna say the girl's name, but a girl phoned him up who's trying to become some self-proclaimed dating guru for men and that, not for chicks. So the person I mentioned that first, the one that's saying level up, the dating guru, she does it for gal. But there's a next gal that does it for men apparently, and she's hitting up Kevin Samuels saying, like, asking for dating advice, and I'm like, that's like me hitting up Steve Harvey saying, listen man, I'm having trouble staying motivated, and you know, I'm a black man, and I'm like, what? Like, come on man. Exactly. That don't make no sense, fam. That's like a man who's a drug counselor going to counseling sessions on the weekend for his addiction.
Well, I mean, listen, put it this way, right?
Sim, you could. If you're coming back with something.
I'm being honest. No. I tell you what.
Mm-hmm. I
don't know about them, but me as a coach, I have a coach.
Nah, see, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
I'll tell you why, because when I coach my clients, I pour into my clients.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm dispersing a lot of my energy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, the only way that gets replenished is through where I get to pour. So I have many ways in which I pour. I listen to music, I watch films. However, there is a coaching process that allows you to pour in such a way. Now, I can understand why you would say that the gurus is this and the gurus is that, but they're getting advice from somebody else. I'm getting coached by someone else. I'm not asking them to help me to perform in my particular role. I'm just getting coached so I can pour myself out. I can pour myself out to my spiritual coach, to my partner.
Well, obviously this could be another thing that we disagree on, like the other 10 things in this live stream and that. I don't believe like.
I thought there was only 3.
Sorry?
I thought there was only 3 that you disagreed.
No, I just threw the number out there, innit? I'm not saying everyone knows it all and stuff, innit? But there's no way, like, don't get it twisted. Like me, I don't have no one to talk to about, like really stepping out of your comfort zone and that, because my brethren and that, yeah, they're doing their thing, some of them, but they ain't trying to go that far. I don't have anyone around me who's really, really like that. So I like to listen to Steve Harvey and that car. I ain't gonna be hitting him up on thing, and he speaks my language. My brethren and that, they would be content with earning however much money and just having a few properties and that. Me, I ain't content with that. Me, like, I want to do the unthinkable and that. Them man ain't like that. Them man, they just want to work their 9 to 5, go home to their missus and just chill out. And I ain't that guy. So I don't have no one to talk to.
Okay, but that doesn't make them wrong that they're that guy.
No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, this is why I like to listen to like Steve Harvey and that. I like to listen to people who are talking about, really going the distance instead of just being average. Because for me, It's a sin. It's a sin to be average. That's why, you know, when you talk about the 10K, man, I'm like, nah, man. Even if it makes you happy, still.
Is that a sin? It's not a sin. It's your opinion.
It is a sin.
It's your opinion. In your opinion, it's a sin. But what I was going to say is that, and what I'm saying to you is this. You see, like people like Steve Harvey or even yourself, if you wanted to go and buy a hotel, for example, you're going to go and get advice from someone who's bought a hotel.
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to get advice. Exactly. That is the same thing. It's the same thing as being coached or being mentored. You're going to go to somebody who has done what you've already done, that you want to do.
Sim, that is a totally different. I understand what you're trying to go with that, but no, there's no. Sim, there's no way.
Although I wouldn't go to someone like, if she went to Kevin Samuels, and this is what I'm saying, it's different. Why I would agree it's different. If she went to Kevin Samuels and she was asking him, how can I become a successful relationship coach as yourself?
No, it weren't that.
Right? Thank you. That's different. She's not. She's coming to get coached on how she can get a man probably like him.
Well, yeah, but yeah. So that's what she hit a man up, innit? Yeah? But that's what I'm saying. It's like me hitting up Steve Harvey and saying, like, that's like me just jumping on the live stream saying, yeah, man, get on your grind and you can become the best version of yourself, innit? Yeah, don't settle for mediocrity. And then next minute, I'm hitting up Steve Harvey. Yeah, man, I just need to stay motivated.
But what if Steve Harvey is your mentor?
No, you cannot. That's what I'm saying. Remember what I was saying earlier? People are trying to fix other people. No, fix your ass class self first and then go and fix other people.
Wait. No.
Yeah.
Okay, let me say it right. If someone came to you and they said, Jelani, right? Sorry, Jay.
Don't worry. It's cool.
They said, yo, I really am inspired by your story. Can you mentor me? Would you mentor that young person?
I mean, I'll just say to them, listen, I don't know if you class this as a mentor.
No, would you support that young person to achieve what you have achieved?
Yeah, I'll give them advice. Like, I've got a man hitting me up here and there on Instagram asking me for advice, and I'll send a man a voice note. Like, a man.
Thank you.
I had a man.
So therefore, right, and if they then do what you said, okay, and it works out for them,
yeah.
Are they in a position to offer that advice when asked by someone else?
I see you're trying it on. I'll say, yeah, they can do, yeah.
Right, cool. Right. And then they will come back to you and ask more of your advice, wouldn't they?
Fair enough. That's that. All right, big sis. You made a good point. But no, no. But what I'm saying is these people, no, it comes from a different place. The reason why these people jump on YouTube and they're talking and that, they're just coaching themselves. They're just there to vent and that. There's no way you can claim you cannot try and claim to be a dating coach or try and give men advice on how to get a woman and you're trying to get a man yourself. No.
I think that's different. That is different.
That's what I'm saying. That
is different.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so yeah, that boy can come to me and say, oh, how do I do this? And then the next man asks him and then he say, well, boy, I learned it from him, but boom. Yeah, that's all right. But
he's not trying to portray himself as a property guru.
Exactly. That's like me, because I say to people, listen, it's easy to buy a property. Don't get it twisted. It's going to be difficult to buy a property in London, so maybe just go outside. Yeah, I wasn't able to do that. I'm not earning enough. Yeah, what you do is you make sacrifice. Try and get a job where you can work 80 hours a week instead of doing your little 40, so you can get this money as soon as possible. Plus, you'll be taking up your time, so you don't have time to spend money stupidly and that. Because when you're working 80 hours a week, you ain't got time to be going shopping. Trust me, I've done it. But then that's like me giving advice on how to buy a property and that, and then I'm phoning up, man, asking, no, man, how do I save and shit? What? It's simple. It's simple. Don't get it twisted. I don't know everything about property, obviously.
If you said, how do I save a mil? But you know how to say, like, you know, it's different, isn't it?
Yeah.
How do I flip 50 grand?
Yeah.
You might be asking them that. It just depends. But I get what you're saying. You know, I think, you know, one of the things that I've learned, I always say to people, you know what? You have to embody the person that you want to become.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that you should, okay, so yes, if you got your own property, you can say that you're a property owner, but you've got to have the mindset first in order to get it.
Exactly.
Right? Exactly. So if people are saying that they're a relationship coach, they're just embodying that. They're just saying that they are. They're just acting like they are until it actually kicks into place. Right?
Yeah, that sounds like a fraud to me. It sounds like a fraud to me.
No, but you would know them by their fruits. You would know them by their fruits. So I used to think, you know what, I need to make sure that my whole life is in order for me before I can become a life coach. But what I realized actually, from where I was to where I am now, in terms of what I coach on, I am more than experienced and more than knowledgeable and have the expertise to coach within that area. Do you understand? If I decided to go into relationship coaching, I couldn't do that. I would have no clue. I'm single. What could I tell you about a relationship? How not to get into one? Absolutely.
Well, yeah. I mean, everyone come in there, you know what I'm saying, innit? But like, I don't want to hear no man talking about how to stay off drugs and that, and he just came out of rehab last week. No. I want to see time served. I don't want to hear anyone talk about how to buy a property and they're just on the path to doing it themselves. Well, why don't you first accomplish it first, get the t-shirt, and then go on. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man.
Fair enough. I agree with you there.
But yeah, with what you're saying, I agree with about the youth coming to me asking me for advice, and then his brethren. You know what I mean? Yeah. But don't try and act like and then you're trying to seek advice from people who are really doing this thing. Nah, man, you're a fraud. You're just there to vent, man. It's some foolishness, man.
He's rude and disrespectful anyway. I don't even know why people even entertain him.
No, I find this stuff funny though. No,
he's just rude. I think he's very superficial and materialistic. So therefore, if anyone is not on that level, then he doesn't have time for it. It's like saying that no man is going to date a woman that has children. That's a lie. We see it all the time.
Yeah,
that happens.
Yeah, that's what I've got to accept that.
Exactly. Yeah. But he makes it like, well, no, you got a kid and you're 38, and because you're a size 28, you can't get a man. Like, come on, that's your values, and what you value is different to what another man values. You can only speak for yourself, or you can only speak for the people in your circle, because it's likely that you all resonate with the same idea. Do you understand? But you can't speak for somebody who has grown up with a man taking on the role of a father, and you can't. He's just awful, and the way that he delivers his stuff is terrible. Me and him would catch up.
You say that, but a lot of people will agree with me and a lot of people don't agree with me. You know, my family members, they don't like man, you know, a lot of them. That they might smile, but man see through the smiles and that because of my mentality and how I come across and that. And you know my mentality, get off your ass.
Your bluntness.
Yeah, get off get off your ass, look in the mirror, fix yourself, you can make something of yourself. Stop blaming the white man, stop blaming the government and that. That's my mentality. And a lot of people don't want to hear that. But that's what you need to hear. You know what I mean, innit? Me, I'm an iron fist ruler, innit? I just blunt. Yeah. Don't sugarcoat nothing, man.
Well, we have spoken for a good few hours.
Yeah, 2 hours and 17 minutes or something like that. So, yeah. 2 hours, yeah.
So
past bedtime now, you know?
Exactly. Mine too. I've got to get up early for my run.
See, I already went for my run still, so, yeah. Yeah. How long do you run for?
I do 4K, so about 45 minutes.
Oh, okay, yeah, you do more than me. I do about half an hour, so yeah, 15.
But how many kilometers?
Oh, see, I don't know. I need to work out the distance, but it's 15 minutes one way and 15 minutes back. I go and then I hit a certain point, and I just turn back.
Okay.
But the run I used to do in Edmonton is I used to, you know, the Asda where the alleyway is, the Mile Alley. I used to run up there, turn left at the top, run down Montague Road, run down Bouncers, run past the police station, and then come back to the estate. That was only a 20-minute run, but it was a quick one. So yeah.
No, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. The conversation has been great. It's been fantastic.
Yeah.
We'll have to do this again.
Trust me.
We'll do this again.
All right, sis.
And all right, cool.
All right, cool. Next time.
All right,
All right, see you. Bye.
All right, take care. Oh, you end it?
Yeah, I end it. Yeah. All right, people. All right. So, yeah, I just went live with someone that I know. Decent conversation. Some stuff agreed with, a lot of stuff not. As you can
get 20% off
as you heard.
Top Man at $8 now.
Yeah. Any last comments? Write them down. If not, I'm locking off in about 60 seconds, yeah?
She was at the grocery store getting her cheese. You say that she was looking at somebody else. Why'd you get a secret fraternity then? Because I felt like
All right, take it easy. Thanks for watching. Done now.